So today is March 15th, 2020, and I'm here in Calgary, Alberta. As of today, there are 56 cases of COVID-19 in Alberta, and Alberta has a population of about 4.3 million, so we're just over one case in 100,000 at this time. At this time, I can't find accurate information on how many cases are in Calgary itself, but I know we have more than Edmonton, which is the other major center in Alberta. If we assume we have about 30 to 35 cases in Calgary, we're sitting around about 2.5 cases per 100,000 people in Calgary, which is still pretty low. Now, knowing that information, I'm not ready to panic just yet. So, like usual, on every Sunday my wife and I went grocery shopping, and we usually go to the local superstore. When we got there, it was actually pretty quiet, which was nice. I don't like crowds, so it was great. As we walked around the store, you'll see a few things here. We know there's been panic buying going on, and a few of the things actually made me laugh a little bit. We've all heard about the toilet paper buying. Well, those shelves were picked clean. Some of the other ones that surprised me were flour. People were buying up all of the flour. There were still many bags of rice, like big 50-pound bags of rice. Those were still plentiful. But everybody had picked the flour aisle clean, and I'm not sure. I guess they'd rather bake bread than just cook some rice. The other one that surprised me was all of the frozen vegetables were gone. Lots of fresh vegetables, but nothing frozen. So we walked around Superstore. We picked up our usual stuff. We didn't buy any toilet paper. We didn't buy any flour. We picked up our fresh vegetables and a few things for this coming week. The best part about all this is it looks like all the panic buying took place probably the week or two before we got there. A couple weeks ago when we went shopping, the lineups were atrocious in this place. Today, we just walked right up to the till, he rang us through, it was fantastic. No lines, very few people. I love shopping like that. Our next stop was just to the Superstore liquor store. Strangely enough, they had a lot of Corona beer still available, and it was at a nice low price. Very tempting. We'd had a little bit of a cold snap in Calgary here this week, so I was a little antsy to get out of the house. I've been kind of confined to the house as I'm resting my knee as I had surgery on it. So we went down to Market Mall. This place on a Sunday, usually you have trouble finding parking. Here, it's a ghost town. There's hardly anything here. There's hardly any people, there's hardly any cars. Again, this is my kind of place because I'm not a big fan of crowds. Several of the stores have been closed. This here's the Fossil store. I don't really shop there much, but I found it interesting that they decided to close their doors. Another one that was not of a big shock, as I've heard the announcement, is Apple decided to close their store. The Apple store in here is usually just jam-packed with people, but just a ghost town today. Very cool. Fortunately, my favorite pretzel stand was still open. I love these things. They're very delicious. Strangely enough, the health food store was closed. I would figure at a time when people were panicking about this virus and wanting all kinds of cures and trying to stay healthy that this would be the one place people would be lined up at. They shut their doors and ran for the hills like so many others. The little kid play area was actually closed, and I'm not too shocked by that. Anybody who has kids like I do knows that they're just a breeding ground for biological weapons. They come home with every virus and bacteria you can find. So this is the one place where this actually makes sense. As we walked around, we made our way over to the food court. Again, this place is usually jam-packed on a weekend, but you'd have no trouble finding seating here today. Very quiet, very interesting experience. So we just heard the announcement today that basically Alberta has closed all schools and banned any gatherings over something like 50 people. Now, that means my kids get to stay home for an extra few days, and that's fine. My wife's a teacher, so she has to go in, and I'm assuming she's going to be the one who's cleaning her classroom and all that kind of fun stuff. I'm actually off work right now because, as I mentioned previously, I've had knee surgery, so I'm off work. However, I've got a good supply of things here. I've got my snacks stockpiled, as well as a few good beverages. Because we all know that alcohol kills viruses, so I'm pretty sure I'm immune.